Hi, Lexi. Hi, Lexi. Don't know if you're talking, but still can't hear you. Can everyone hear me okay? Okay, good. Yep. Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and get started then. Seems Lexi is having some technical challenges. So hello, everybody, and welcome to the Michigan chapter. So we've been gone for a little while, but we had Summit in the middle. So we're glad to have everyone back. So let me get the presentation up and share. Okay, perfect. So a couple things, which I think the slide's a little bit later, but this is being recorded. So if you're not comfortable with it being recorded, you can leave the meeting and then you can look at the video later if you'd like. So just to keep that in mind that this is being recorded. So just a few announcements. So if you're interested in being a leader and you're in some of these regions, we're starting some other regions. You can contact Julie and she'll be happy to get you in touch with any of those areas. Because we do have others other than Michigan on here. So if you're interested, feel free. Also, Adobe Champion registration or applications are open. There was an event on May 14th. Granted, ours is a little bit later, but there was a recording that's out there. If you go on Experience League, you should be able to find it if you're interested, or you feel free to talk to me. I'm a champion as well. So I'm happy to explain what the champion program is all about and provide you any information if you want to reach out to me. It's no problem. So if you're interested, here's the little QR code. You can go in and apply, and then it goes through review process, and then you'll be notified later this summer and whether you've been selected as a champion. Perspectives. So there's a new area called Perspectives that's dedicated in Experience League, and these are articles written in different product focus areas. So they're real world cases from practitioners out in the field. So if you want to look for something that maybe gives a little more insight than just the Experience League community, you can go out here and take a look at those. And then here's another QR code if you're interested. And you'll get these. This presentation will be posted, and we'll put it on LinkedIn later if you want to try to capture those QR codes. If you're ever interested in writing one, you can reach out to myself or Lexi, and we can get you in touch with Jenna or Julie, and they'll be happy to help guide you through the process of writing a perspective if you're interested in that.
Hi, Scott. I joined on my phone.
Oh, you're here.
I'm so sorry.
I'm just zipping through the slides. So your topic's coming up soon, I think. So, so welcome. So as I mentioned, this is being recorded, so we can go by that slide. So just a couple things about the house rules that we have to cover. There's no self-promotion or pitches of any kind. This is supposed to be a very sales pitchy free media, I guess. And then don't contact people without consent. And if we share use cases, we try not to share information that's proprietary to our companies. So with that,
Yeah.
your slide, go for it.
Yeah. So I know we did a survey, and thank you for all of those who filled it out with asking like if you attended Adobe Summit and if you did not. And it seemed like about half of us did, at least virtually. And so just before we dove into Scott sharing his specific use case coming out of Summit that he did with Infusion, we just wanted to ask and start with like, what did everyone hear? And what did everyone think of the AI content at Summit related to Workfront and all the Workfront related products? Because AI and agents came up a lot, and we just wanted to kind of talk about what stood out. Were there any concerns? And then we can take that into the next part of our discussion.
But I think we have to unmute everyone.
Oh
be
my
the next
gosh.
challenge. You could type it in chat for the moment and we'll figure out how to get everyone off mute.
This wasn't a problem last time. I don't know what. And I'll start. I mean, I know from Workfront admins should be starting to learn more skills and programs in your tech stack. Yeah, and I think one really cool feature that I was super excited about was the AI collaborators, which I went into our system yesterday actually, and it looks like those are available with like being able to check brand guidelines and having that set up in our system to be able to do like an initial review of a graphic or something before it even gets to the. It looks like maybe you
Sorry, that was
did
me.
it. Did it work?
I don't think so. Sorry, Lexi.
Yeah, I just think the AI collaborators are really cool, and I'm really excited I was starting to play around with them today of like how you can set it up to help within your workflow, and I really think that's a practical use that everyone can then start exploring. And I know in the initial survey there was some thought or some questions about like AI form fill, and yes, there were a couple labs on that of how to leverage form fill, and our last Michigan WUG was about that as well, because Scott has done a lot of things with the AI form fill, so we can speak to that too. But yeah, just in general, obviously, it's where we need to go and where we should be now, and so just trying to catch up within our specific Workfront instances and actually making it practical for you. Scott, what stood out to you?
Oh, Monique was giving us some heads up. Yeah, I was trying to do that, but I can't figure out. Oh, I have to do each individual person.
Here,
Looks
I'll do
like
that. Sorry about these.
it's crazy.
technical
Okay.
difference.
Well, we could still go through the chat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, for Summit, I usually go with a task at hand, and mine wasn't related to AI because I'm so involved in it. But so I was doing other things. But the one thing that I was most intrigued about from an AI perspective is this new MCP protocol
Yes.
that's coming out. So I've been working with the Adobe engineers to understand how this works and what are the guide rails in our systems to make sure that So for us, we don't want customer data getting out into the stratosphere, and so we're trying to work with them to understand the MCP protocol. And I noticed that the engineers were working with some of the folks, and I don't know if they've worked with any of you on what this does, but basically what it's supposed to do is allow you to use your AI solution, Claude, ChatGPT, whatever your case may be, to be able to interrogate the Workfront system or work through the Workfront system. So a little bit stronger than the AI assistant, from my understanding, on this. But I haven't gotten too deep with them yet. They've been busy with other things, but I know we had in the Workfront Champions group, we had a post by Julie about what would we use it for. So I know the champions, we've all expressed what we would use this MCP opportunity for, and so I think that data is collected. So more on that, but that was a pretty interesting area for me to dive down and dig in a little deeper from that side.
Yeah, and that's also like a requirement and a prereq for the optimization agent. Is that right? Do you remember that as well? The MCP access and.
No, I don't recall it.
All right, and people should be able to come off mute. If you cannot, I'm so sorry. But any other thoughts on what stood out?
Yeah, Autumn.
Yes.
Oh, wonderful. All right.
Thank you.
I'll interest. I can only join for the next 15 minutes. But yeah, so AI, it's everything, right? I'm really interested to see how it's going to connect with all the other systems and where all these different AI agents are going to live. I think that's the biggest piece that I'm trying to solve for, as well as trying to figure out, I think, Scott, on your end, like the gatekeeping of everything. So MCP, yes, 100%. I'm really interested. I know we've built quite a few scenarios for different clients using OpenAI as some, or ChatGPT for certain things that are available. But we've got a lot of agents that are created in Writer and in Copilot and other things like that, that I think is be really, it's going to be great to see all that. So excited to see both of those things.
Good.
I'm new here, but I'm happy to talk about an additional one that I think kind of flew a little bit under the radar. But the unified storage that was like quietly announced, enterprise storage model, is probably very powerful for a lot of folks, where they can share the same binary across Workfront and AEM assets and several of the other tools. So I'm really excited to that, and we're working with the Adobe team to experiment with that currently in the enterprise space. So.
I was just talking yesterday afternoon to our Adobe rep, and they were getting me in touch to get that going too, because I'm so excited about that. All right, any other thoughts? Okay. Want to go to the next one, Scott?
Yeah, we can go on. Keep this moving along. Maybe we can go on. Oh, now what happened? Okay, here we go. All kinds of technical issues today.
Yeah, great session.
So what I want to show you is something that really helped me, and I can't take all the credit for this. It was a consultant that we reached out to help us with some of our fusion, and she was like, "Hey, well, do this for me and send it over, and let me see what I can do to help you out." And it was using ChatGPT to do our documentation. And for us in Fusion, we struggled quite a bit in documentation. So we developed these great scenarios, things would work, and then it would take us months to go back and document everything that we did in the detail that we prefer for that. So I'm going to walk through this really quickly because I want to show you what we're going to do. So I just have a simple Fusion scenario. So for those that were in any of the Fusion classes, this looks familiar. This is from a Fusion class, as to not use my real data. So we're going to take this simple Fusion scenario. And what we need to start to do, or what we have to do first, is we have to download the blueprint into a JSON file. And you can go into Notepad and see what it looks like if you want to. And that's what the AI is going to take a look at to see how the scenario was built. And so if you click the three dots down here, you'll get this export blueprint, and then it will put it into a JSON file. We have a blueprint, or I'm sorry, we have a standard format that we use in order to build our Fusion documentation. And so we're going to take the blueprint and we're going to apply it to that. But what I found in working with the AI is it doesn't necessarily know the Fusion icons. So it'll kind of generically make the lion head and things like that. So what we've done is we've started to download or take pictures of all the Fusion icons in the scenarios that we build, and we just put them in a Word document. And we're finding that AI is now being able to match those. And so we're getting real life icons. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to open ChatGPT here in a second. And we're going to actually load this up and watch what happens with it. So we're going to create this prompt, and we're going to watch it do its work here. So let's jump into that real quick. So here's my AI. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to add some files to this. Oops. Let me get to the right spot here. Thought I had this set up, but okay. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to load the Fusion design template, grab the icons, and then here's that Fusion scenario I've already downloaded, and we're going to add those to the ChatGPT. So then within there, we're just going to ask it to create the documented template, so or create the documentation. Oops. And what I always do is I always tell it to use Adobe Workfront, just to be clear. I've just used Workfront on occasion, and it did some added some weird things in there. So I don't know if there's another thing called Workfront or it's taking the word work in front and doing something different. But I notice if I use Adobe in front of it, it's usually pretty good about finding the right thing. So I also tell it what to do. What am I looking at? What am I looking for it to do in here? So create documentation using the Fusion design template. When everyone's watching, you can't type. And the Fusion icons for this Adobe Fusion scenario. And then I always call it out. For me, I find that when you call out the exact file, it doesn't confuse itself. And especially if you're like me, I've got several things going on, and ChatGPT learns your history and starts to learn who you are and what you do. And it could grab another JSON file if it thinks I'm still working in that, even though you put into a new chat. I'm also in developer mode, so I do a lot of development for our company, and sometimes it will grab some other things on me as well. So the prompt, you can be as explicit as you want, but you really want to make sure you tell your AI what you want it to do. I'm in thinking mode, so this is going to take a minute to do. So we're going to let it do its thinking. So let me just jump back into the PowerPoint real quick and kind of show you what it did. So this is what it's going to look like when it's done, and we'll take a look at it here in a second. But I just took, for speed, I just took screenshots of what the documentation looks like. So this is our Fusion documentation, and kudos to Ewan at Adobe. He gave us the template, and we love it. We use it all the time. But as you see, it starts to put together the flow. We'll talk about the scenario design. It'll walk through each icon or each module and tell you what the settings were or settings are that you have, any exceptions, any error handling that was in there, and then a little bit about the data dictionary. It tells you all the data that you have within your system. So let's go back and see if it's done. No, it's still thinking. So it's going through everything. And I want to show you something next year. So hopefully this doesn't take too long to create.
Lots of responses in the chat, Scott. If we could get it to that template, I believe you've tried to share it, but if we can share that template, tons of people would love to see it, including myself.
So if you'd like, let me put my email address in. I think it's going to be the easiest.
Perfect.
So I have no problem if you're okay sharing your email. So you can just send me an email and I'll be happy to flip it back to you.
Thanks, Scott.
Yeah, this is incredible.
This
the amount
is
of
amazing.
time, yeah, and like going, yeah, I feel like we kind of rush and like we go live with the scenario, and then it's like a month later we have to go back to the documents. So just having this in the ritual and habit to make this so much easier.
Yeah, we have
oh, sorry, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, just to further complicate it, if you make an update to the scenario, have you done it where you can do like a change record of, okay, this is what the scenario was, that's the initial blueprint, then you put another blueprint in and say, all I need you to do in this document is update X, Y, and Z for what we did. So that way I don't have to go and nitpick and fine tune all the small tweaks and changes that was done. Just out of curiosity, if you ever did that.
Yeah, if you keep it as a Word document, you can reload the Word document and we'll go through and make the changes that were done in there. But we haven't had a lot of success with it, like redlining, we'll say, or track changes. We've tried that and it hasn't been consistent with that, but it does create the new document with all the new changes in it and updates. So it will do that. So it'll take your old document and your new JSON and we'll go through and make changes to it. Here it goes. Okay, so it's all done. So now it's creating the link. It should be. There it goes. So now we can open the file. Oh, it changed my format on me. So that's cool. So here's the flow again. So pretty much the same thing I walked through, and it gives you all the information that each scenario has. Field flow. So what is each field doing? What are the exceptions, the error handling? There's a data dictionary, which I didn't have in my PowerPoint, but it kind of helps you understand what some of the data points are. Now, if you're not, this is the next crazy thing I'm going to show you. It's not my presentation, but if you're not really Fusion savvy and you use AI and you say, hey, explain what this scenario is doing, but you're a little confused about it. I lost my phone here a second. There's a code that you can put in. Where my phone went. Okay, well, hopefully I can remember the code. So if you put ED10 into the start of your chat, right, and you say, explain what is happening in, again, you're all watching me, so I can't type in blueprint 97758. What this is going to do, if I got the code right, it's going to explain it to you as if you're a 10-year-old. So it takes it, so I tried this out before, and what it did, it was really detailed in trying to explain it to on a level that, in essence, a 10-year-old can understand. You can do ED15. Now, if you want to be really smart, you can go to ED PhD if you want, and we'll do it as a PhD. So here it's going through and it's going to explain everything in great detail for you, as if you were, again, a 10-year-old, to try to understand exactly what's going on. I use this for troubleshooting, and I was able to find my error, pretty quickly, because I didn't have to go through and think about what is that module actually doing and where do I need to look. Monique, there is a 5-year-old. It's I think it's EDI05. I think I'll look it up and I'll send it to you. There is a 5-year-old one. So anyway, this was really helpful in the troubleshooting area. And so here it tells you task 1 counter is 1. If you did just a normal, and now I can't do it because I've already done this, so it'll think that I'm still trying to work as a 10-year-old. Sometimes it's a little too high level and you can't figure out what's going on. So that's just a little, again, another AI tip for you if you're working with Fusion and your scenario. So the key is to get it down into a JSON by exporting your blueprint and then using AI to do whatever you need to try to understand your Fusion flow. So the Fusion flow we're working with this consultant in it's got to be almost 60 modules that's in this thing, and it's pretty complicated. But when we downloaded it into this blueprint and then I did this, ED10, I actually feel I understand it now. So I don't know if I need the consultant anymore. No, we still do because we are having a problem with it for that example. So good. Any any questions about these 2 tips on AI using ChatGPT?
We have a hand raise, Prasanna.
Yeah. Oh, there we go. Good.
Basically for doing reverse engineering of existing scenario.
Oh, I'm sorry, what was the question again?
My question is like, so whatever demo you've shown, right? Like, is it basically to reverse engineer and find out like what's happening within the scenario?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
This is really good. Like I mean, like we have some scenarios, huge scenarios, where we didn't have documentation, and we don't know like what is happening, and we have multiple integration with other systems. So this will be really helpful. But one question is like, does it? I mean, from the security standpoint of view, right? We are. I mean, if you put the JSON, it will. I mean, for a secure environment, like it will. I mean, you're exposing like what is the process and other things to an external system. So, from that perspective, how do you think about uploading this JSON to a ChatGPT or any other AI systems?
Yeah, so for us, we have ChatGPT Enterprise, and so our data is protected, and it doesn't, as if you can see the little note down here, it's not, any of our data is not used to train any of the models, and then our data is stored on a secure server in the United States, so we get to pick where the data is stored, and then it deletes the data every 90 days, but it doesn't. It keeps the learning within our own system, but deletes the data behind it every 90 days. So for us, prior to us getting enterprise, yes, that's a concern. And we had individual accounts, which aren't as secure, but a little bit more secure, as opposed to just wide open on the AI, open AI. But with enterprise, we have no issues. And you can see too, I have memory also turned off, so it's not remembering everything that I do when you see memory up here. So when you get enterprise, if your organization moves to an enterprise with Claude, OpenAI, any of those, you get a lot more protections than just the general, Googling OpenAI or Claude or Gemini. So it's just something to keep in mind.
I think everyone who has Fusion will want templates in this process.
This is amazing.
Yes.
Hey, Scott, this is really cool, and I'm just going to jump in all over my head. The one thing that we've done is we've taken this very similarly, but as opposed to using GPT, we actually use a Claude project. And as this takes the blueprints and generates the documentation into a PDF or a Word doc, we actually also synthesize that into a Markdown file. And the reason for that is then we can append that Markdown file to the Claude project, and then anyone can query against that Claude project for, hey, you can use it as kind of an archive, a corpus of information, so that if somebody, oh, what does this scenario do? Or they can use it as more of a search utility based on there. So that might be the next iteration of, I'm sure GPT has something similar where you can add documents to a project and query against it, but it's been very helpful to describe similarly the scenarios and what exists within inside of those other projects.
Yeah, thanks for sharing that, Mike. We are just now investigating projects. Actually, this morning we were developing a project, so we're now experiencing what projects can do and how they can help us. So thanks for that feedback. I'll definitely look into it. That's a good point. The other thing to point out too is, so as many of you know, AI can have some hallucinations. So this is also where this ED10 prompt can come into place. Is you can also download your document and then follow this to see if it had any hallucinations in creating your documentation by reading through it alongside with your document to find out if it actually recorded everything correctly. So that's another good use case for using the 10-year-old version of the explanation.
Cool. Thanks so much for sharing.
Yeah, no problem. And yeah, so if you shoot me your email, I can definitely send you the Fusion template. No problem. All right, so back to
so we just have 10 minutes left, and just wanted, this was an extremely practical use case of using AI within Workfront and Fusion, and just wanted to hear from others, how else are you using and leveraging AI within your instances? Anything to share?
So has anyone I mean, has anyone tried giving a prompt which can generate a blueprint in ChatGPT or Claude?
So we have.
Anyone? Oh yeah, go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, so we have. It would help us get started in Fusion, but it doesn't. We haven't found it to do a really excellent job in creating a JSON that you can upload and you're off and running. And some of it, maybe this MCP will change that going forward, but a lot of it was you had to really be very specific in your prompt and to get it to create the JSON to mimic your instance or what you want it to do. But for us, it was a great start. Sometimes, like an artist, you have a blank page and you don't even know where to start, right? So it would help us with starting. We would explain our want or our need, and it would start to put things together. But the thing it did help us with is the watch record, or the trigger, I should say, is probably better, is the trigger. It would give us some good indications on where to start, and because sometimes that's the problem, right? You don't know what should trigger your Fusion scenario. So that has helped a lot. And I have a young developer on my team, and he lives in ChatGPT to start off the Fusion scenarios, and so that it helps him a lot get started. And then now with this, he can now go and back check what he's doing. So good question.
That makes a lot of sense.
Sorry, I have another comment. I'm going to be chatty here, everyone. Sorry.
Perfect.
One of the things that we've done is, as I just mentioned, some of those markdowns. So similarly, we have, and Scott, I think as you explore the GPT projects, we have Claude projects that are used. So we will often have a number of clients where we'll do some demonstrations, product demonstrations, or potential campaigns. And what we'll do, we leverage those markdowns within a project that create quick imports into like Workfront planning or other Workfront workflow things, where we can basically generate very large amounts of what campaign operations might look like, or various procedures. And we use those as boilerplates, but they're very personalized, So we've seen a lot of success with those types of things when and talking with clients, and then also internally, we know what types of operations we do, and we use those to kind of preemptively fill out a lot of the, say the date ranges or the products we might be leveraging, and so on and so forth. But the markdown files are used as the model to preemptively generate the content behind them. That's where we're using some of the AI stuff in Workfront.
Yeah, that's a good point. Projects, I think, are also going to give us a lot more support. So for sure, I'm going to start playing with that a little bit more now that you put me onto that trail.
Go ahead.
Yeah, one more question I have is has anyone used AI for determining, for example, within the Workfront Fusion, we have a lot of legacy modules. Has anyone used ChatGPT or Claude to find out how many legacy modules are there which requires an upgrade? Say, for example, I have around 30 scenarios, and all those scenarios are very huge. instead of going one by one, each scenario and then finding manually, can it find the legacy modules and then an action plan for that?
I haven't done that myself. I don't know if anyone else has.
Nope.
Oh, okay. So no use case there.
Monique, not to put you on the spot, but could you speak to the Fusion Control project that you chatted?
What was your question?
Just curious about the Fusion Control project that you mentioned.
Yeah, what do you want to know?
Just how do you do it, and what's the goal of it?
Okay, so it's literally a project in Workfront. It's called Fusion Control Project. Essentially, every team in Fusion gets its own project. So it's one, and then every scenario within that team has a task that corresponds with it in Workfront. It's able to help with a lot of things. One, I always put a custom field on that task, a custom form on that task that not only just says like what it is and has like a little explanation, but I can also put intervals on there. So let's say in Workfront, I might tell it to run every 5 minutes, right? But in my interval on a task, that's where I might tell it to run 60 minutes or 3 times a day or whatever it might be. And if that ever was to change, I don't have to go into Fusion to make that edit. It's the same thing with turning things off and on. Again, I don't have to go into Fusion to do that. I can do that right in Workfront and just toggle it with a field, and it gives just a little bit more control. It also is where we house all of the documentation, because I want people not in Fusion at all times, basically. So if I can give them literally 90% of what they would ever need to be able to see in Workfront or in Fusion in Workfront, then they don't even need to know that Fusion exists.
That's awesome. Thanks for sharing.
So in the chat, I put the age levels, if you want to look at it. And there's also one that says /deep, gives you more layered and detailed explanation if you need it to go through more in layers. So just some prompting tips to help you out. These are the most valuable ones I've come across so far, to be honest with you. All right. Want the next slide, Lexi? Are we good here?
Yeah, anything, looks like Michael, did you come off mute?
Oh, sorry.
Well, I was going to ask, because I was just looking through some of the new, I was going to ask if anybody's done anything extensive for some of the chain, like there's some scenario pieces available now that I haven't messed with much, but like chaining, daisy chaining, and like parent relationships with inside of there. I just didn't know if there was exposure to that with anyone.
We have just started, Mike. Like we had just started with exploring in a lower environment for chaining, and to find, because we have a complex scenario, like huge scenarios. We are exploring to use the chain module to basically to make it as sub scenarios or child scenarios.
Yeah,
we had just started.
Okay, that's what we're exploring too, and I'm gonna poke Autumn a little bit, because Autumn and I worked on something that was similar, where we were like trying to do some routing, some very creative routings to capture like main events from Workfront, which got a little
we just started, but do you have any like pros and cons of using chain?
Same thing. We just started using it, but mainly like when you start capturing Workfront, like status updates. It's broadcast to so many scenarios that you don't want to have to trigger and create convoluted conditionals with inside of Fusion. So it would obviously broadcast to like one singular event and then use that as chaining and routing to the other subsequent scenarios as needed. So that's kind of where I'm thinking we're going to go, but I'm not entirely sure.
Awesome. Well, thanks for the discussion. Sorry about the technical difficulties and the fact that I'm on my phone. Thank you for joining. So this is the Michigan WUG that put this on. Scott and I are the co-leads of the Michigan chapter. So please join our chapter so that you can get notified about future events. And there are also so many good WUG events out there. So please check those out.
Perfect.
Thank you, Scott and Mike, for this valuable session, and thanks, Lexi, for coordinating and then handling the session. It's a valuable session. Thank you.
Thanks so much, everyone.
All right, thank you, everyone. And the recording will be up at some point.
Yes, we'll do that.
All right.
Bye.
Bye-bye.